Yeah.
Running right now over there to do this. You won't get a deal like this anywhere else. We're dealing tonight. Yeah, we'll take about the city relationship. Take a look at those prizes. Pretty amazing.
Talk about this is the city program and what we have doing and what we are going to be doing. I just want to take a couple of minutes because we have some excellent presentations later on, particularly from Dr. Schindel of the Smithsonian. And I know we all want to hear about him. And you all can hear about me by dialing 447-6075. This is the city program. Has existed and was created under the administration of Mayor Frank Jordan in 1994. Mayor Jordan was instrumental in opening up the gates between San Francisco and Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. The program has grown and mushroomed to where we are today. We have several subcommittees and urban planning, and transportation, education, librarianship, and the like. I'm very happy to have some of our directors here this evening, and I'd like to introduce those that are here. We have a board of 17 people, and a few of our board members are here this evening. So I'd like to introduce Michael McClintock. Stand up, Mike. President of Equity Associates. Our Burke, partner with the investors, and I don't see any other current board members, but I do see a past board member, and that's Kim Brandon, who was introduced a few minutes ago. And I hope that many of you will join us as either board members or firm supporters. The Sister City Committee, the San Francisco Ho Chi Minh Sister City Committee is a very interesting group of people. We have a challenging program and by our trips to Vietnam. We're hopeful to be taking either the treasurer, Jose Cisneros, or the mayor, Gavin Newsom, to Vietnam with us later this year after the election. But also in September, a group of us will be going. Led by Kim Mai, and I should introduce Kim as being the chair of our Natural History Museum project. Kim, could you stand up for a minute? And I saw Conway Jones here earlier. I guess he excused himself for a few minutes. He'll be back. He's also a board member, as well as Fred Jordan of the Natural History Museum project. Here from the big cheese of the committee, and I look forward to seeing you at more of our events in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, George. And I think a round of applause to George for all his work. Let's just introduce Ms. Kim Mai. I'd like to ask Kim Mai and Fred Jordan who would like to speak to us about one of the special projects, the Natural History Museum project. So, Kim and Fred, please.
Distinguished guests, I think by now you know much more about Vietnam than as much as I do. So, on behalf of the Committee for the Ho Chi Minh City Museum, I would like to take this opportunity to say thanks for your presence. The words cannot express fully our feelings of appreciation. The commitment of your presence today is very much appreciated and show your care and your consideration for the project that we are embracing. Once again, we thank you for your coming, and we are looking forward to see you again, and to work with us on this project. Thank you, and may I introduce to you Mr. Fred Jordan.
Kim is the chair of the board of the San Francisco Ho Chi Minh City Natural History Corporation. This particular project was so large that we had to splinter off somewhat, and it's under the Sister City program. So I don't want to see, because I got drafted about 4 or 5 years ago, and they just put me in there and put me to work. And so that's how I ended up on this committee, but I've been to Vietnam about 4, 5, 6 times, and I enjoyed every moment of it. While the Sister City encourages trade and culture, and then also the Sister City provides technical assistance. So one of the first things that Ho Chi Minh City asked us to do was to review their planning program, because, as you know, Vietnam is the second fastest growing country in Asia, enormously fast. And so Ho Chi Minh City is a city of 8 million people, no master plan. And so for those on the technical side, that's a big thing. It's big. So we started off being asked to review the master plan, and we got started. And one of the firms, we had about 10 firms, and one of the firms broke off and went to Ho Chi Minh City and offered their own services, and that kind of blew that to smithereens. And so then they came to us and said, look, we want to put in a museum, a first-class museum. Who's working on the Air Museum, a few people around, and so we said, fine, we will assist you. So we went over to Ho Chi Minh City, and they had a little lot next to, I think it's next to the American Embassy. So we said, okay, but we need something a little bigger than this. So they gave us 2 acres in the zoo. And many of you know where the zoo is. So we said, okay, fine. So as we got started, and we began to pull in the forces to make this a first-class, state-of-the-art museum, the city became very interested. And so next thing you know, we had a 74-acre plot of land. I mean, you know, quarter the size, maybe a quarter the size of the city of San Francisco, but not that large. But anyway, so we engaged on this. It's going to be a museum, a 250,000 square foot museum. It'll be one of the largest in Asia, and 70 acres of botanical gardens. It's going to be a class act. It will be known throughout the world. And in order to put that together, Mr. Lei Thun and Trin Nguyen have brought delegations here to visit every botanical garden, every museum of natural history, that's called the Smithsonian, you know, to kind of help us out. And the Smithsonian said, gee, we'll help you out, because Vietnam is one of the most biodiverse countries in the world. I mean, it compares with the Amazon and the rainforest. And so I said, I never knew that, because when I go to Ho Chi Minh City, all I see are bars and stores, places that have a good time. So anyway, so we engaged, and that's where we are. We're on the planning aspect of it, and and as I got involved in this, got involved. And then the Academy of Science, which if you read the papers a couple of days ago, was all over the front page. 400,000 square foot, $400 million event. When they heard Vietnam, they stopped. They stopped. They said, oh, we'd like to be part of that. And so they are going to assist Mr. Le Zong and Trent and the delegation, and they are part of the team. So we have the Academy of Science. We don't know how fortunate we are in San Francisco, but the Academy of Science has spent 10 years to be the museum of the 21st century. When that museum is built, it is supposed to be the #1 natural history museum in the world, with the exception of the Smithsonian, of course. But anyway, the two are going to be the top museums in the world. But it is supposed to be a museum that has to do with green and LEED and all the environmental. And the important part is that it will preserve species that maybe have never been seen. I mean, they've never been discovered. I mean, there are all kinds, and I'm talking about, they have mammals over there. They have buffaloes and cloud tigers and all of that that's around that have never really been documented. And so it is an enormously exciting project, and I'm just having a ball being part of this project. And I want to thank my board. I got 2 boards. Natural History Museum Board, Kim is the chair, and Nguyen is the chair of the sister city, and we're going to make this a world-class museum, and it's going to be one of the best in the world, and it has the flora and the fauna to be the best in the world. So, thank you all for coming out tonight, and George, you're holding your hand up.
You may want to just introduce the people from Saigon.
From Saigon, yes. You introduced before. Lee Zung is the director. Nguyen, please stand up. And they are on the ball. They are working every day. And for those who have not gone to Vietnam, you will be totally shocked at how friendly everybody is. They are just really friendly. They'll step out of the crowd and they recognize that you're American, shake your hand, and might even buy you a drink. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Fred. And you can buy me a drink next time. And again, Mr. Lay, again, welcome to San Francisco. Their trip, they're here a week, and I saw their schedule. There's no free time. You guys are working the whole time. Very impressive. And good luck with your travels around the United States. And Fred, thank you for spearheading this incredibly interesting and amazing project. And please, everybody, hopefully you have a chance to talk to Fred and with Kim and the others about very unique and I think world-class project that they're involved in. Well, tonight we have as our guest speaker all the way from Washington, D.C., as Fred said, representing the Smithsonian Institute, Dr. David Schindel, who is the Executive Secretary for the Consortium for the Bar Code of Life. And so, David, we'd like to ask you up. I know we have to hook up a couple of computers and things to get it working, but we look forward to your presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, all the way from Washington, D.C.
Thank you, Mark. While I'm rewiring things. I hope you'll excuse me if I lecture from here. I'm not used to those microphones, and I was told that I can make myself be heard in almost any classroom or auditorium. First, I want to thank Fred and George for inviting me. I have a message to deliver from Dr. Paul Taylor, who was supposed to be your speaker. Paul says, my sincere apologies for not being able to be with you this evening. I'm unable to attend because of the last-minute postponement of the opening of the Korea Gallery, which is a large exhibit at the Smithsonian. At the request, I send my best regards to all the participants at this important occasion and wish you every success as you move forward on this exciting project. He also has sent with me to distribute to you the brochure, a pamphlet about the Korea Festival. This is a very interesting example of cross-cultural collaboration. This is an exhibit sponsored by the Korean Foundation and other organizations interested in Korean culture. An exhibit at the Smithsonian. Also, he sent a pile of his business cards. He really is very excited to be involved. So please, if you were thinking about contacting the Smithsonian on this project, please take one of Paul's cards. So, with that background, I thought it would be relevant first to say the creation of a new into this, the construction of the new California Academy of Sciences building in Golden Gate Park is going to be a spectacular event. This is, you can't even call it a state-of-the-art building because nobody's built a building like this ever before. It's going to be completely environmentally green. It's looking out into the future as far as research, and the exhibits will be like none other anyone has ever seen. So please stay tuned for what the California Academy of Sciences is going to bring you. Now, in contrast, the Smithsonian is an older and larger institution. It's not the oldest in well, it is the largest, but not the oldest in North America. The oldest natural history museum in the United States was created when Benjamin Franklin was still in Philadelphia. It's the Academy of Natural Sciences in Philadelphia. So, in between the Academy in Philadelphia, the new building in San Francisco, and this new building that is being constructed in Ho Chi Minh City, you see the full scale of natural history museums, so I thought it would be appropriate to ask the question. Now, that was the government's role, but as population centers grew through the Industrial Revolution, cities like Chicago, New York, Philadelphia, all over the country, these population centers were growing up, and pretty soon, people had lost connection with the frontier. All their experience was going to the factory and living in a high-density environment. So exhibits, public museums, city parks, zoos started to grow up as a way for them to reconnect with nature, because they didn't see it in their daily lives anymore. So that's when public exhibits in museums started to rise up. It was a way of showing them what had been their natural heritage, so they would get displays of the wild animals that used to live there that were long ago killed off. Or what did the plains look like before Chicago grew up? So it was a kind of nostalgia for the city dwellers. It also became a way for people to stay in contact with their cultural roots. As the immigrant population started to build up in large cities, they had their own enclaves, they had their compatriots from their home country, but you start to see the growth of cultural exhibits about the old country, about their homeland. And a great exhibit of this, a great museum of this sort, is the Milwaukee City Museum. Actually, it was the county museum, now it's a private museum. If you go to the Milwaukee Museum, you'll see a series of exhibits that are reconstructions of European villages all over. The vision of the Smithsonian is quite simple: understanding our natural world and our place in it. And the mission statement is just this: to inspire curiosity, discover, and learning about nature and culture through research collections, exhibition, and exhibits. One of the important roles of a museum is stewardship, holding on to stuff, maintaining the health of its collections. Here's a great picture in the bird collection, or the butterfly collection, just to show you a small sampling of that 125 million items that are in the museum. The second mission is scholarly research, and in the Smithsonian's Natural History Museum, it covers an extraordinary range of disciplines, from rocks, fossils, animals, plants, and culture and anthropology. Here's a few examples. This is a fellow I taught with at Yale for a while, Rick Potts. He's in charge of the Human Origins program. This is a crane in Panama that studies the life in the canopy of tropical forests. And the third big area is public programs of education, things that school groups and visitors experience when they come to the Smithsonian. Now, a new mission, and I want to talk now about the emerging part of the emerging missions of natural history museums, because it has been evolving. The Smithsonian in the last few years has taken on a new role. In addition to all the things it does with its own collections, its own exhibits, it has become host to programs that are global in scale. And I'll just talk briefly about two of them. The first is the Encyclopedia of Life. This is a new project just started this year. It is an attempt to create a web page for every species on Earth. 1.8 million species are now known. Estimates of how many species there are really run from 30 to 100 million, some even larger. The goal of the new species curve just keeps accumulating in Vietnam, so that there have even been new mammal species discovered. And it's a long time between the discovery of new mammals. So the fact that we're still finding mammals, birds, insects that are undescribed in Vietnam means that there's many more to be found. Vietnam has already started to establish partnerships with major museums in other countries. So for example, there is a program called BioDiva, which the French have supported, but lots of countries have been involved in. The Smithsonian has contributed to this project. The Missouri Botanical Garden, which is one of the premier natural history museums in North America, is involved in their Institute of Ecology and Biological Resources. There's a survey of the Mekong Basin that's underway with a partnership from the World Wildlife Fund. There are a number of things that are already started, but these are at the early stages. And as Paul Taylor said in his message, the Smithsonian is very eager to participate and collaborate in these initiatives. Museums are moving into new challenges. Old museums have to learn new tricks, but a new museum, like the one in Ho Chi Minh City, can start off knowing how to do these things from day one. So for example, old museums are now developing new kinds of collections that they didn't have before. Digital images, digital libraries, frozen tissue, DNA extracts. Audio and video recordings are all new kinds of collections that museums have to learn how to deal with. But your museum can start right from the beginning. There's always a problem of protecting the property rights of a country, its natural resources on the one hand, with the general scientific ethic of open access, of sharing information and sharing specimens. That's a problem that the Ho Chi Minh Museum will have to deal with. Thank you. In the exhibits area, museums, as I said, have come to a large degree from a colonial perspective. There has been a country that makes the collection, and there's a country from which the collections have been taken. And the exhibits are from the viewpoint of the collector. How can you sustain the biodiversity of a small country with a large population? You can tell the story about ecosystems in your exhibits, but it's almost unavoidable that you'll have to deal with the issue of sustainability. So I'll stop there. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for this invitation. It's been a pleasure meeting some of you. And I wish you nothing but luck as you move forward on this project.
I don't know how we test that. So make sure later on when you leave that you pick up your souvenirs from Cafe Pacific and again, thank you, John. We have a number of awards this evening to present. The first is to Mayor Frank Jordan, who couldn't be with us tonight. Frank was my boss. I worked for him when he was mayor. And he was the mayor who initiated the San Francisco Ho Chi Minh Sister City relationship. Since he's not here, I can tell you a little more of the intimate details of that whole procedure that took place back in 1993 and 94. I don't have to be so diplomatic as he would. But I think we do need to salute Frank, and most of you know him and see him on a regular basis. Special advisor out of the Gordon Moore Foundation in the Presidio, and he crosses the globe giving away Gordon Moore's money on health and environmental projects. When I see Frank, I say, how are you doing? He goes, oh, I just got back from Kamchatka, and I'm going to Haiti next week, and I'm in Milwaukee, and these kinds of things, so he's enjoying life. But it really was a stroke, not only of genius, but I think courage at the time. We forget that it was a difficult situation at that time to be an American there and decide that we're going to be the first city to reach out to Vietnam, to build the foundations of friendship, that we should do as Americans with Vietnam. There was one of the first mayors to go there, and we met with everybody, including the Prime Minister at the time, and we were sitting in the Prime Minister's office with Mr. Bobet-Key, who was the Prime Minister at that time, and Frank George said, Prime Minister, right now our two countries don't recognize each other, but they're going to, and when they do, I want your consulate to be in San Francisco. And the Prime Minister looked at Mayor Jordan and he said, Mr. Jordan, I respect that. We'll be with you in San Francisco. And so, that's why the Consulate General was here in San Francisco. It was that simple. There was a lot of work after that we had to do, and many of you did that work. That was it. And I also remember in April of 1995, where we had presented the idea of a sister city to Ho Chi Minh, and they frankly didn't know what it meant. It was a new idea to be a sister city committee, which is interesting. And we were Frank looking at this. And remember, this was a re-election year. And Frank said, we've got to go as soon as possible. And we went within 10 days to Vietnam and signed it. And I've never seen any mayor work that fast. So tonight we are dedicating and creating the Francis M. Jordan Founders Award in Frank's name. And this will be an award that the committee will give every year to an organization or to an individual who has worked to improve the relationship between San Francisco and Vietnam. And unfortunately, Frank can't be here tonight. But since I work for him, and once you work for mayor, you always work for him, I'm going to accept it on his behalf next year. We also have an environmental award for California Waste Systems who couldn't be here this evening. They are running a waste facility, wastewater facility, or solid waste facility that they're building in Vietnam at this point, and they're to be saluted on that. They couldn't be with us tonight also. Our last award, however, and most prestigious, goes to Dr. Tai Nguyen, who's with us this evening. Dr. Nguyen. Stay up, Dr. Nguyen. You're going to come up here. We're going to make you speak, so Dr. Nguyen is one of the leading, I guess I would call it in my vernacular, eye doctors in the world. I'm sure he will tell you that there are many kinds of. He has done research across the world. He is a graduate of the University of Saigon in Vietnam in 1971, and then his PhD at UCSF in pharmaceutical chemistry in 1984, and he taught and did research for many years at UCSF. A major research achievement was the clone. I'm not a good scientist. We should probably get David up here for this, but the clone of the first candidate gene, namely TIGR. You'll have to explain this, Ty, for glaucoma disease. Dr. Nguyen has done some of the leading research in the world in glaucoma disease and other eye diseases. I know Dr. Nguyen is here with his wife and his mother tonight. He's flown in from Tokyo to be with us. So please, we'd like you to come up. We'd like to present you presented by the San Francisco Ho Chi Minh Sister City and Ho Chi Minh Museum of Natural History to Dr. Tai Nguyen in recognition of his contributions to the discovery of the TIGR gene. It's called Tigger, right? My daughter would know that. The Tigger gene used for novel glaucoma diagnostics and therapies and his efforts to promote goodwill between the people of the United States and Vietnam. Dr. Nguyen, please.
Good evening. I have 2 minutes instructed by Director George Sagan. I prepare reading for this. I hope you don't mind. Also, I forgot it's part of my English since I've been moved to Japan. So, honorable and distinguished guests and directors George Sexton and organizers of Ho Chi Minh City, San Francisco Sister City Program. I'm truly privileged and highly honored to be here with you tonight. And as various reasons, first as a visitor, it's a chance for me to be back home city, which I'm very proud of. I more like rediscover the wonderful city and the statement that everything in America is larger than life because in Japan everything is small. I'm not here to tell you about the glaucoma, but actually to express my deep appreciation and thanks to you, particularly of your interest in Vietnam. And when this evening I heard about your plan and your work to establish the Natural Science Museum in Vietnam, that's really something that I think as a biologist, I think this is like great need for the country, particularly we are in the developing phase of modernization and we need to keep a balance. And also as the more like the aspect of biologists, as you recognize the diversity of our country. In fact, there are a number of programs that now want to focus on working in Vietnam, developing of new drug discovery as well as DNA markers for evolutionary study, which is important is have been discussed very well by. So when I first met Mr. Sexton and Chancellor, I don't need this, but and I think the third point here is I'm very happy for the opportunity to be a college and associate with Ho Chi Minh City and San Francisco sister program and meeting college from Vietnam and also being associated with college that when I come to Vietnam. And I think this is a tremendous opportunity for me as a biologist to contribute my training at UCSF for the development of the country. Yeah. So then regarding this award, I deeply appreciate to receive this award, and I look forward to be better in terms of my association with the San Francisco program, which I always deeply admire, even when I was away from the program and from the city. Well, last but not least, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank my mothers and my wife, with their love and support that has contributed to progress in my career, which one of is leading to this award, which I appreciate very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.
We have a couple of last items to do. First of all, we'd like to thank very much many of the people who put this event together, and especially the sponsors. Bernie and Eleanor Berg, thank you very much. Talk and Hello Cats Are Us. Next one is San Francisco. Mike. Centero Wines, thank you for the wines, and John Michael, thank you to Cafe Pacific. Get your tickets out. Come up and get your prize. I'm also going to say it's the last chance for anything with the silent auction. We're going to close the silent auction in about 2 minutes, okay? So the painting, the pictures, go take a look at the airline tickets, the hot air balloon. We'll close it as soon as we finish the raffle. Okay, second prize. What's second prize?
The second prize
4 bottles or 6 bottles? Fred wants to know, is 4 bottles or 6 bottles? 4 bottles. It's still enough to get a buzz. They're going to bring the wine over.
Okay, I'm going to bring water. I will bring the wine for you.
If you fly with Tokyo, you get free booze. That's just the agreement. Thank you, Ty. Here we go. You can hear the bottles. Now, you have to put those in your suitcase going home, Ty. I'm trying to take them through security. Okay. Thank you. Congratulations. Okay, next one, everybody wants this. 393017.
Right here.
Is everybody ready? Round trip ticket from San Francisco to Saigon for 2-night stay at the Renaissance Hotel. We'll do that, guys. My goodness. Okay, Shellbox. Doris Morris. Barrels, $95. Thank you, John Michael. Lunch or dinner certificate for at Vietnam 2. The winner is Dr. Neil Fruman. Thank you, Doctor. Autographed book by Lately Hazlett, Child of War, Reverend Twung Ho. Thank you. This is all cash, right? No? Okay. Okay. Case of 1, 2, and with continental breakfast at Orchard Hotel. John Michael Barrows. My goodness. I'm going to go to work for that airline. And the last prize, before the big one, round trip limousine service from San Francisco to San Francisco Airport, George Saxton. Okay, round trip ticket from San Francisco to Saigon with 2-night stay at the Renaissance Hotel. Philip, did you, is this your writing?
I can't believe you took it already.
Oh, okay. Eleanor Burke. Thank you everybody for participating. We still have some more prizes, but we think we'll keep them until next time. Thank you. Mark? I also like to point out
trong xe giờ thôi mang chắc mang về cho Sơn Trang. Dạ. Dạ.
What changed? Before that, like it's a long history, as you know. Every disease has some so
That's right.
we use some model.
Very good.
So I'm glad that the city and Mr. Sutton still remembers our contribution and acknowledges with the group. So this gives me a chance to
Excellent.
continue
Well, that's very good. I'm very happy to see you. Very happy to help.
Thank you, Dr. Anytime. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're a lucky guy.
Yeah. Đi đi với mẹ lên thấy.
This is blackmail picture.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, you are the honoree. You should be in the middle. Yeah. No, you should be in the middle. Yeah.
Lady first.
Ready to go? I know.
We launched and
So tell me, what is this? Travel portal? Is it? You are familiar with Industrial Park, Singapore, Industrial Park, I met there a woman that has a website called Spoke.
That's right. What you got?
Anh có máy hình. Máy.
Like you used to.
I'm ready. 1, 2, 3.
Smile. Go ahead.
Có máy hình. Chụp không?